So, is it good afternoon or good morning? What time is it? 12:05. So it's good afternoon. So we've had a lot of messages, people asking us, are we missing in action or what's going wrong? So obviously you've missed us doing the live videos. We'd no classes on this week. In saying that, we were in work every day. We had a massive big delivery from UK Floral Supplies there last Monday, and it took us 2 days to pack the stuff away. And then also with running up and down the stairs, because obviously anybody that has been to the school, you know that we're upstairs. So when the deliveries come, they just land it downstairs and we have to bring it all up and down. So we had a big delivery of flowers last night, because it's actually Saturday, we have our spring day. So we said, sure, why don't we just pop on and we do a spring flower arrangement. So first of all, if anybody watching, if you're watching, give us a comment, give us a little wave, give us a little bit of love, let us know that you're watching. And if you have any friends that's maybe interested in flower arranging, maybe click the share button so that they can also watch it. And anybody that joins in later on, and you're just wondering what happened at the beginning, the handiest thing to do is if you click share, it'll go directly to your own page, and then you'll be able to watch it at a later stage yourself. So if you haven't been watching so far, Deirdre?
There's a few watching now on Facebook. We have Lisa Marie, we have Aneshka, we have Geraldine, and we have Marie. Brilliant. Watching on Facebook. Well, there's a few more watching, but they haven't commented.
Right, so anybody else that's watching, come on, don't be shy, don't be camera shy. Comment below and let us know what's going on.
Marie says she's hello and nice bunny's ears.
Oh, see, this is it. I want to be a bunny girl today, so I'm in the yellow apron because I'm working with some yellow flowers. So, if you have any questions as I go along, just comment below, because Deirdre's watching the cameras and she can let me know what the questions are, and if I can answer you, absolutely, I'll answer you.
Raza is over on Instagram and she's watching, sending the love as
well. Hiya Raza, how are you? Long time no hear. And even anybody watching at a later stage, watching this little demo, you can still comment with your questions below, and later on this evening I'll just check in and I'll go through any of the questions, and any of them that we haven't answered as we went along, I'll definitely answer them then later this evening. So the materials that I'm going to use today, I've kind of like thrown this together, so I might forget half the things as I'm going along, but don't worry, it'll all come together.
Live video,
exactly. And as I said, this was a bit of a last minute thing. Just there was a message come in from Dorothy. I think she's in Offaly, and I think Dorothy misses us. So it says, oh, here, we'll pop on and we'll do a little demo. So for the table arrangement, what I'm going to use is a posy pad. So this is like, it's an oasis base, or a kind of a floral foam base, and has styrofoam. It's like a styrofoam base at the bottom instead of the plastic bases. But you could use either or either. It makes no difference at all. And you'll purchase the posy pad from your local flower shop. So if you have any flower shops watching, please put up the link of your flower shop and just comment below to let people know that you are actually selling these bases. Or again, if anybody has a question and they're wondering if the flower shop in their particular area, just put up the area, and again, hopefully maybe some of the flowers watching can comment and let you know that they are selling the items. So it's a posy pad base. This is a 14-inch base. They come all different sizes. This will turn out quite big. So probably a 10-inch or a 12-inch might be perfect for, say, a standard kitchen and dining room table. So first thing with the bases is trimming the bases. So just using a knife. This is what we call an Oasis knife because it's made by Oasis, but a normal sharp knife will do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along and I'm going to take like a sharp corner off the edge of the base all the way around. There's a funny noise off this. Sometimes it makes people's teeth go funny. So I'm just kind of go around a bit just to kind of show you what I mean. So can you see that I'm just taking that edge off, right? So go all the way around the edge of your base, taking that corner off. Because it just means for your table arrangement, I'll just show you the side that I haven't trimmed. When you try to cover that in with your foliage and your flowers, it's very difficult to kind of camouflage or hide that corner. Where when you take off that corner, you get a much nicer base with your flowers and your foliage, but it's also easier to camouflage and you end up using less material. Your next thing you have to do is you have to drop that down into a bucket of water. So I would say leave it for about, normally floral foam takes 60 to 100 seconds. But the floral foam that they use on these bases is of a premium quality and it does take a little bit longer. So I would reckon leave it about 2 or 3 minutes. But if you left it a little bit longer, it wouldn't make any difference. Now what I would have found as well is if your bucket, depending on the size of your bucket, you might have to turn the foam base in your bucket of water and then allow that section to soak for 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, just to let you know, Geraldine Whelan from Vereen Parnell Street in Ennis. She sells all flower arranging materials.
Okay, so anybody who sits down Ennis, County Clare. So Geraldine, Deirdre, she's going to put up the link for a flower shop there, Geraldine. You just tag your shop there so people can find you. So she sells all the bases, and I'm sure she'll have a lot of the material that I'm showing here this morning. So just contact her direct, and you can organise, maybe she'll post it out to you, or you can call in and collect it. So that's the first thing with the bases. Get your base, trim all the way around the outside, and then submerge it in water. So while your base is soaking, you can then get the rest of your materials ready. So what I'm going to use is these natural twigs. So they're kind of like a contorted willow, but you could use some birch twigs as well. Now again, we buy this in wholesale, and I'm just going to use about that much there, about 4 stems in the arrangement. So again, go into your local flower shop or garden centre, and you can purchase a few twigs, or maybe out in your own garden you could have some twigs that you could use. It doesn't have to be the exact same material that I'm using today. The other thing then is I went and I collected, obviously we purchase all our greenery in, and we purchase it in from a foliage farm. So again, you could purchase it in a local flower shop, but just go out to your own garden and collect some lengths of foliage. What I'm using today, have it pre-organised just to save a little bit of time, is I've used some ivy, wild ivy, some of it has the seed heads on it, some of the silver Sussex, a little bit of eucalyptus, and a little bit of pittosporum. And the plan would be is to cover in the base completely with foliage. Now that does take a little bit of time. So I have one in the oven. I'm like a little Peter here. Yeah. So just for anyone that's kind of inquiring about the length. So that was about the length of the ivy that I used. So it's about 20 centimetres approximately. And the same then with the eucalyptus. And each piece of foliage, before I inserted it into the base, I cleaned off the end, cleaned off the end pieces. It's very hard to tell you exactly how many pieces of foliage I used. I would reckon to cover in the base, I've used definitely 100 or maybe more. So I used quite a lot of foliage. So I'll show you now the base. So this is the exact same base I showed you in floral foam. I'll just show you the back of it there so you can see it. So it's the exact same base, and now I have it completely covered in with foliage. That took me about 20 minutes to half an hour, you know, that way. So it would have been quite boring on the video for me to be doing each step of it. But what I did was I went around the very, very bottom edge of the base first, and I did a line of foliage. And then I kind of like layered on top of it, on top of it, on top of it, working my way closer and closer into the oasis base. And then I started on the next section of foliage. So again, if I just kind of hold it up there, it's like a clock or a pizza maybe. Yeah. So I have a pizza slice of ivy, a pizza slice of pittosporum, a pizza slice of silver Sussex. The plan would be is to cover it in as quick and as best you can with as much or as little foliage as you possibly can get. So, any questions so far there?
No questions, no, they're all, your ears are going down a tree.
Ears are going, I thought you meant my ears are falling down. Okay, so the twigs. So I'm going to use some of this willow twig. It's kind of natural. I did buy it in yellow as well, and I have it in yellow for my students that are coming at the weekend. It's actually nice it is. So if you follow us on Tuesday and tune in, you'll see photographs. Saturday. Follow us on Saturday. I'm all mixed up with my days. You'll see the arrangements that the students will be making, and you'll see them using the yellow twigs. So I'm just cutting a little bit off the end of it. And there's no back and front to this base, so I'm just kind of picking an area, and this is just where I want to get a little bit of height. So I'm just standing my twigs straight down into my turntable is turning around, straight down into the oasis base. Oh, that's something as well. We've got the turntables back in stock. So I have them packed, the exact same one that I'm using here today for the demonstration. So that's them there, bubble wrapped and ready to go out. So anybody that's interested in a turntable, you can ring us direct. Our phone number is 01 for Dublin, 4538649. Or go online and order it online, because that way then we'll have your address and you can pay with your credit card, or you can pay with PayPal. So PayPal or credit card. So just in this area here, I'm just doing, this one's a little bit crooked, so I'm taking it back out again, just insert it again.
Yeah, you're not supposed to take it back out.
I'm not supposed to take anything back out. Pretend I didn't do that. And I'm just going to do a group of the twig just standing up at the back of the arrangement. And the more twisted and contorted this is, the nicer the arrangement is going to look. So again, don't be fussy about it. Like, I don't have them any particular length. It's not like I'm saying some of them are shorter or some of them are longer. So I probably used about 5 sections there of twigs. I'm going to turn it around because obviously this is the back as I look at it. So that's our arrangement. Our base then is covered in with foliage, and we have our twigs standing up there to give us a little bit of height. So very simple so far, and also very inexpensive. Especially anybody that was able to get a lot of foliage from their own garden. This would cost you very little to make. And again, twigs, and maybe some of the twigs that you have in the garden has little buds on it. This is obviously a dried twig that I have there today.
Cherry blossoms at the
Cherry
moment.
blossom would be perfect. Or do you know the magnolia is in flower at the moment?
And what's the yellow one? The forsythia.
Forsythia, yeah. So anything at all that you have grown in the garden, and if something with a little bit of greenery on it or a little flower on it, that'd be absolutely perfect. Now, flower-wise, I'm going to use Solidago. So Solidago is in season at the moment, and it's an inexpensive flower, and it's actually quite a long-lasting flower. And when you purchase it, there'll be very little yellow showing, and then as it gets more mature, you'll see more of the yellow. So you can see this one here is a little bit more mature, so it's more vibrant, the yellow colour on it. But this will last easy 2 weeks. Sometimes it kind of like just dries
Guess who's
out.
watching us?
Who's
Frank
watching?
from Ring Flowers is watching us.
Oh, hiya Frank, how are you? Would you
On
believe
Instagram.
we've never actually met Frank?
No.
I was just actually filling in, I was just doing a little bit of account work there this morning, and I actually said to Deirdre, do you know what? I says, we give that Frank fella a good few bob every month. So we were talking about you. So for somebody who we give a few bob to every month, and I haven't even met you yet. So we bought this Solidago from Frank from Rings Flowers anyway, and we were delighted. Delivery came in last night. It's very happy with it. So when we purchase in the Solidago, I think it comes in 25 stems. So I just went through a couple of my stems this morning, and what I was trying to do was to find a mixture of different sizes, as in small, medium and large. So you can see this one is quite full and this one is quite small. So if you're purchasing this in a flower shop, I would recommend that you do similar to what I'm doing. Don't go and purchase 5 big ones. Try and purchase maybe 3 or 4 or 5 stems, whatever you choose to use, but try and get different sizes. Because what I recommend, so if I take up that one there, it's kind of more of a medium one. That one there is probably a medium one, and this one is a little bit small as well. So I always start off with my smaller stem. So in my hand I have this smaller stem, and then my second stem, I'm just going to, in my hand, just rest it a little bit lower. And then my third stem, which would be a little bit fuller, I'm going to place that down a little bit lower again. And then my fourth stem, again, which is a little bit fuller. And then my fifth stem, if I decide to use the 5, to see the way I'm keeping the biggest one for the bottom. So I always say smaller items at the top, medium items in the middle, and larger items at the bottom. And when I have the students here at the class, how I describe it, I just say small head, big boobs, not so much with me, and a bigger backside. So that's how your arrangement goes. You start off small, you get a little bit bigger, and then you keep the fuller part of your flowers for the bottom part of your arrangement. So I'm starting off with my smaller stems. So any questions?
Deirdre says, would contorted hazel.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, that'd be perfect. And as I said, even something that has a little bit of a flower on it, or a little bit of greenery, or that's coming into bud, because obviously it's spring, you know, that way, so things are starting to shoot, that would be perfect to use. Anything else? Oh,
no,
very quiet,
no,
aren't
they're all,
yeah,
lots of hearts. No, we're getting lots of hearts.
Lots of hearts,
So they're
okay.
liking what you're doing, I think.
And a few yellow hearts now, seeing that it's
yellow hearts, that's it. Frank,
So-
you got good value for money by the looks of it.
We did, absolutely, it was. The Solidago was great value actually this week. We'll be using a lot of it really on Saturday for our spring class. So I'm starting off with one of the smaller stems. I've already cut it. I'm going to bring it in among our twigs standing up in the arrangement, and then I'm just going to insert it down into the foam. And I'll just turn that around just so you have an idea like what I'm doing. So keeping it very simple, and also kind of like trying to keep it like inexpensive. So somebody that wants to make an arrangement at home. So again, I have my second stem, which I'm just cutting a little bit shorter, and again, in among the twigs there, I'm bringing this down, so it's a little bit shorter, and sometimes I'd say, maybe go a little bit to one side. Now don't angle it on like a slant to the right hand side, still keep it straight, still keep it vertical, but slightly to the right hand side.
Leanne is on, we're getting loads of yellow hearts.
Loads of yellow hearts, oh brilliant, we love the yellow hearts. Getting mixed up here with me big ones and me small ones here. Okay, so this is my third one. So this is the stem that I would class as the boob. So we have our head is at the top, our smaller ones. Now I'm onto my medium one, so this is the boob part of the arrangement. So again, cutting this one a little bit shorter. I'm just taking off some of the stems at the end. I'm working to the left hand side, again in among the twigs. Left hand side still vertical, so still going up in the air, and I'll just turn this around just so you can get the effect. So you can see it's very, very simple. And you could probably replace this with wax flowers. So again, wax flowers in season at the moment, and you could go to your local flower shop and purchase, 3 or 4 or 5 stems of the wax flower. But again, don't go for all the biggest stems. Try and pick a mixture of different variations and sizes. And now I'm going for my 4th one, so I'm probably just going to keep it at 4 today. I wasn't sure, I had 5 stems ready. Again, I'm going to cut this one just a little bit shorter. Take off your bottom leaves, or bottom little stems, so you have a nice clean stem going down into your floral foam. And I'm going to work slightly forward with this one. And again, I'm going to my right as I look at it, because I understand you're looking at it from the other side. So that's our 4 stems of solidago, just kind of slightly staggered, going down into the arrangement. Some of it is in among the twigs, and some of it is just a little bit in front of it. So again, very, very simple. Now what I've done with one of the stems is I've already cut it up. You can see my face. I've already cut it up into a few smaller little sprigs. So that's just where I got the one stem and just cut it up into little smaller sprigs. And just down around the bottom, I'm just going to insert them down into the floral base, into the floral foam, I meant to say. And just kind of make it look like a garden, that everything is kind of growing up here from the end. And that's my plan of action anyway so far. So, anybody think that they might copy this at home themselves? What do they think? Do they like it?
Marie's been on. She's actually coming on Saturday. She says she can't wait. She's really looking forward.
You'll really enjoy Saturday. We have a lovely selection of stuff. So we still have one place, by the way, available for Saturday's course if anybody is interested. So Saturday is our one-day workshop in spring flower arrangements. And every student is going to make now quite a big spring door arrangement. They're going to work in all fresh material, so it's all fresh foliage. And they're going to use some of this solidago, and they're also going to use wax flower in them. But then I have some kind of artificial material, in flowers, for anybody that chooses to, where they can add some artificial flowers into
like
it.
our Christmas wreath course, they'll have
Everybody
a choice.
will have a choice. So a huge selection of material for people to be able to choose then what colour and what style. But if they just want to kind of keep it just to the wax flower and the solidago and all the natural foliage, they don't have to include the fresh material. So that'll be one of their arrangements. I'm just going to turn this around now. So you can see there with them smaller little sprigs of solidago, it's just where I kind of filled in the bottom of the arrangement. Now the next part of the arrangement, I have some roses and some germanees. So these are just, I'm sorry if I'm going off you there for a second, these are just some short stem, again obviously I bought these in from Rings Flowers, short stem roses. And again, when you go to your local flower shop to buy roses, you will be given a choice of medium, long ones and obviously short ones. I've been cutting these quite short, so that's why I chose to kind of purchase in the shorter stems. But if you do go to your local flower shop and it's medium or longer stems that they have, they will be a little bit more expensive, but they will be a better quality rose. You'll also get a slightly larger head on them. So sometimes it's kind of where you can buy 2 short stem cheap roses, or you can buy 1 long stem more expensive rose. So it's completely up to yourselves. Now what I'm going to use, and it's not necessary to do this, but again a lot of people ask, I don't always do it myself, but it's just nice to know how to do it, is where you can support wire the roses. So this is where you would be using some florist wire. So you can purchase your florist wire, wrong one I took up. You can purchase your florist wire in your local flower shop, and this is a 22 gauge wire. So a 22 gauge wire would be classed as a light wire. And as an option, and as I said, it's not necessary to do this, some florists agree and some florists strongly disagree, so it's completely up to yourself, is that you can get your light wire, you can insert it into the stem of the rose, just slightly on an angle, and then what you can do, I'll come in close there, I'll do a second one just in case anyone misses this, is you're kind of rolling or twisting the rose around, and you can see then where the wire, to see it's coming down the stem. And that's called support wiring the rose. I'll do a second one just to have anybody missed it. I'm just taking off a nod leaf just to make the stem a little bit lighter for kind of wrapping the wire around. So it's a 22 gauge wire is what you need, which is a light wire. Lengthwise about 10 or 12 inches in length. So I'm just going to stretch over closer to the camera so people can see this. So get your 22 gauge wire, insert it into the stem up near the top, slightly on an angle up into the flower head. So hopefully you can see that it's going in on a slant. I'm right-handed, so I'll hold it in my right hand. I'm going to twist or turn the rose, and you can see where the wire is coming around the stem, and I'm just kind of like wiggling is my word. I'm wiggling it and wangling it in and out between the foliage as I work down the stem, so I haven't actually flattened them in. Now what that will do is that will support the roses, and when they die, you know normally when roses die, like the head goes over. Well, with my roses, if I have wired them, they can't droop over. If you had a wire stuck up through your neck, you wouldn't be able to bend over either. So that's what happens to the roses. And what's inclined to happen is that they dry out, but they're still standing up straight. So it's an option. You don't have to do it. Some flowers, as I said, strongly disagree with doing this, and some flowers do it all the time. Also with the Germanes, you can do it. So I'll just get a couple of the Germanes. So the Germanes are your mini gerbers, okay? And normally when you purchase them, they can kind of like be slightly bent or kind of like curved over. So again, using the same gauge wire, so the 22 gauge wire, I'll do one here and then I'll come over closer to you. You get your wire and you insert it into the top of the stem, up into the flower head on an angle. I'm right-handed, so whatever is your strongest hand, place your flower in your strongest hand. And what you're then doing is you're rolling the flower, and you can see the way the wire is coming down the stem. And it does the same job. It supports wires to gerbera while it's in the florist arrangement, so that the head actually can't droop over. Now there's lots of ways that you can treat Germanes, and anybody that's been on our blog, on our website, which is www.flowerschooolireland.com, you can watch a blog on treating Germanes, and you'll see where I recommend wrapping them in the brown paper. I also recommend dipping them in the Chrysal, this is made by Chrysal, but it's called Quick Dip. So it's a little chemical, Viagra for flowers is what we call it. Put it to your own imagination, and it stops your flowers drooping over. Works on flowers, I'm not sure about many, I haven't tried it. So you come over here, you get your 22 gauge wire, you insert it up into the flower, and then you turn the flower, and you can see the way the wire is coming down the stem, and leave a little bit of space in between it. So back to like with my Germanes, I always wrap them in brown paper. I cut the ends off. I dip them in the Quick Dip, which is the chemical which makes the flower stand up straight. I then place them in water, and I give them 4 hours drink before I use them. I normally place flower food, like as in Chrysal flower food, into the water that the flowers are drinking as well. But as I said, this is kind of like an extra that you can do. And sometimes at the class, one of my favourite sayings is, to be sure, to be sure, to be feckin' well sure. So by putting your support wires on your Germanes, it just gives them that extra little chance, and it will prolong the life of them, especially if your house is very warm. It'll make your Germanes last that little bit longer.
Pamela is on from Cork, and she says, hope you all had a great Mother's Day.
How are you, Pamela? So Pamela is in Absolute Flowers, just getting a few more 22 gauge wires. Absolute Flowers down in Cork. She has a fabulous flower shop down there. And if maybe, Pamela, stick the link to your flower shop in the comments below. So maybe anybody that's watching, pop over and just visit her shop. Visit her shop online is what I'm saying. Give her page a like and watch some of her videos. She done some great videos there last week, giving you a tour of her shop, what she was selling for Mother's Day. Fabulous flowers, so anybody that's looking to purchase flowers down around the Cork area, just contact Pamela direct and she'll be able to help you out. Anybody else saying hello?
No, Linda Cameron is on.
Hiya Linda, how are you?
Linda says, I hope he's going to do a quick dip into his Hugh Hefner house when he sees you.
Oh God, talk about quick dips or Viagra. Anybody following Super Mum Slimming on Instagram? If you're not, go and follow her. She's absolutely mad. She's a head case. Parental guidance and advisory definitely recommended if you're listening to her. But I tell you, she'll put your husband to shame, Linda. She'll sort him out. So Super Mum Slimming.
Yeah.
She's actually from Cork as well. Don't know if Pamela knows. I don't know what part of Cork she's from. And she's on Instagram. Don't think she's on Facebook. So go pop over to Instagram and give her a follow if you're on Instagram. So we have a couple of roses wired up. Some of them I haven't wired and some of them I have. So to one side...
Oh, she said your husband, not her husband.
Oh, my husband. Probably, Linda. I hope he is watching. My husband never watches me on Facebook. He hates Facebook and he hates Instagram. And of course, first thing in the morning when I come down and have my breakfast, I obviously put on the phone. And of course, here's Tom. How's all your fans? Are they saying hello to you this morning? That way. He's definitely not into it. I'm like taking photographs. I often post photographs up on Instagram. Because he's not on Instagram, so you'd never see the photographs. But he's from Sligo, and we were down in Sligo at the weekend, and his family have a farm, so I took some photographs of him with the cows and the bales of hay and all the rest. And here he was, don't be putting them up on Facebook. And I said, no, I'm not. But I put them up on Instagram. So he's not on Instagram, so he hasn't got a clue. So what I'm going to do to one side of my arrangement, I'm going to have a little group of roses coming down, and then I'm going to use a couple of Germanies. I'm going to keep this arrangement much, much shorter than my solidago. So the first rose, I'll just take about an inch off the end of it, cutting it on a slant, and to one side of the arrangement, I'm just going to stand up this rose here. So again, it's quite shallow, the foam that you get to work with these posy bases. But you can actually add extra pieces on. Maybe somebody that's been here at the school before has seen where I often add on what I call a la bump to one side of the arrangement, and it just gives me that extra piece of floral foam to work in. But I'm not going to use many flowers for this arrangement. So I have a second rose, and I'm just bringing it a little bit lower, slightly to the right hand side, a little bit like what I did with the solidago. So now I'm going to get the third rose, and I'm going to go a little bit shorter, and this time I'll go to the left.
Oh, there's lots of hearts coming in.
Now when I say right and left, sometimes people are inclined to get their flowers and they go like right and left. You know that way? When I say right and left, I just kind of mean slightly to the right or slightly to the left, but still vertical, as in the flowers going up in the air. When people do their flower arrangements like that, which is completely wrong by the way, I often think, now again, this is my age, like me bunny's ears, yeah. But actually what I was going to say was the bunny's ears that we used to have on the TV years ago. So anybody that's definitely 40 plus, 50 plus, you'll know what I'm talking about. So before Netflix and Sky Movies and Sky Satellite and all these sorts of things, when we only had 3 channels on the telly, RTE, RTE2 and BBC or whatever, my dad used to have to use these bunny's ears, they were called, and like one went right and one went left, and it was to get the signal in. And when the bunny's ears got broke, he used to use a metal co-hanger to get it. Anybody else watching, same age group as me, that I'm not talking to myself and knows what I'm talking about, let me know. So my third rose, I'm going slightly lower and slightly to the left. So you can see there just the 3 roses, whether you decide one of them is stem wide and the other 2 aren't. So it's just keeping it very, very simple. And now what I'm going to do is with a couple of the Germanies. So I'm keeping the Germanies lower than the roses. So again, I'm going to use 2 or 3 of them. I kind of find, I often laugh when I'm watching florists and they say about designing their floral arrangements. And yeah, I could say I'm designing this, but I often say to the students, do you know, girls, what I'm really doing is I'm making it up as I go along. Because when you start to design a flower arrangement, it's often hard to know exactly how many flowers you're going to use. You can kind of like reckon, I might use 3 or 4 roses, or I might use 4 or 5 Germanies, but sometimes just go along and let the plan happen. So here I have just my first Germany, and it's just in underneath my third rose. I'll turn it around to you now in a second, just so I've knocked something out there. Just underneath my third rose, a tiny little bit lower. And what I'm going to do now is with my second Germany is go a little bit lower than that again to the opposite side. So again, you can see the way I'm doing this, kind of like a little bit of staggering in the arrangement. And it's a nice way of displaying the flowers. And again, if you want to substitute this for a couple of tulips, that would be fine as well. My third one is a little bit lower again, but when I turn this around, you'll see I've just kind of I just have stepped slightly forward is what I meant to say, getting the splutters there. And I'm actually going to add in a 4th one. So this is what I'm saying about making it up as you go along, or creating or designing your arrangement as you go along. You don't really know till you start putting in the material. So what I'm going to do with this 4th Germany is step slightly to the opposite side, but I'm going to make it come out on the arrangement, a little bit like what I did with the solidago. You'll see what I mean now in just 2 seconds when I just insert that in. So again, very, very simple. I have 3 roses, I have 4 Germanies, I have 4 stems of the solidago, and as I said, most of the foliage could actually be sourced from your own garden.
Okay, there's obviously lots of people the same age as you, Janette.
Alright, great, thanks very much. 21 obviously, 21.
21 with a bit of experience.
Yeah, plus that.
Leanne says that they call them rabbit's ears, and Joan says that they call them cat's ears.
There you go. Well, we used to call them the bunny's ears, that's what we used to call them. And I'd say probably most of the time it was a co-hanger in our house, not actually a proper set of bunny's ears. So it's gas, isn't it? Like our kids won't have a clue what we're talking about.
And Linda says, and when the kids were the remote control.
What?
When the kids were the remote control.
Oh, when the kids were, yeah, get up and change that. You're dead right. I remember that as well. So what I'm just going to do is just in among them couple of flowers there is I'm just cutting some shorter little pieces of that twig and just bringing it up through it. Again, it's just going to give it a little bit of movement, and it just, I don't want any foliage coming up because I kind of feel I have enough foliage in the arrangement with the base covered completely in with the foliage. So this is just going to give me another little bit of a texture, another little bit of movement, and that's what I like about these twigs, is it just takes that real, you know, set look from your arrangements. This one's coming out a bit too long, but I'll just give it a little bit of a hair trim now in a second. There we go. And as I said, I'm making it up as I'm going along. So, any other questions? How's our yellow heart? Are they still coming out?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Just giving this one a little bit of a trim. So there we go. You can see where I just have a few little twigs coming out through the arrangement. And I'm also like kind of bringing them out through the foliage here. To see by inserting them down into the foam base. Like remember, like that whole base is covered in with foam, so we've lots of material to work with. Now, the next thing I want to show you, again, keeping it very, very simple, but we picked up this little bunny rabbit. Oops, isn't he absolutely gorgeous? He's real soft as well. But this could be a toy that maybe one of your kids have, you know, that way, or maybe in one of the walk around shops, Deals or Mr. Price.
Actually, Deals have lots of Easter stuff in it.
Yeah, Deals and Mr. Price have a lot of Easter stuff in at the moment. So you might, I picked him up in the wholesalers, but I'm sure you would pick up, you know, a toy version of it, or maybe something very, very similar, quite cheap as well. And what I'm using is a waxing stick. So you could use a lollipop stick, but we didn't have any lollipop sticks here. So the last time we were in with our beauticians, we just picked up some waxing sticks. So when you get your legs waxed the next time for the lucky night, when he's on the quick dip, what you do is you just get your waxing, ask your beautician to give you a couple of extra waxing sticks, and all we did was I just basically poked it up into the poor rabbit, and it just gives, I'm going to take a little bit off the end of it, it's a little bit too long, and it's just so that I can then insert the waxing stick or your lollipop stick down into the foam base. And where will we put him? We put him here in the front, will we? Yeah.
Euro Giant, Leanne says Euro Giant has lots of stuff in for Easter too.
And there's our little bunny then, you see, just sitting, and it just means if you're moving the arrangement, you see the way he's still in place, and he can't run away either. So if you had a stick stuck up through you, you wouldn't be running far either. And the last thing is, we have a couple of little novelty things, which again are available in the likes of Mr. Price and Deals.
Euro Giant.
So Euro Giant and Nice, one of the girls is saying there, have a great selection, anybody that's out that way. So it was like a little nest, and there's a mammy, oh definitely a mammy and two little babies in there. So I'm just going to put a wire on the end of it. So
Joanne is on and she says she's just back from her walk and she missed the start.
Alright, so what you'll be able to do, Joanne, is when I shut up talking, because this is live, you're not able to rewind, but when I shut up talking, you'll be able to go back and watch from the very beginning. And what I recommend to do is down, I think it's on your bottom right when you look at the screen, you'll see a share button. If you click on the share button, it'll go directly to your page, whether you're watching on, well, I think this will only happen on Facebook, by the way. It'll go to your Facebook page, and then you'll be able to watch it back at a later stage.
And on Instagram, it's only there for 24 hours.
Alright, so Instagram's only there for 24 hours. So I don't know how you can save it. You'll need to go and find us on Facebook. So Kay's Flower School Ireland is our Facebook page, anybody that's watching from Instagram. So what I'm just doing to our little nest here is I'm using a wire. I'm using a 20 gauge wire this time. Deirdre's laughing now, so I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to explain about poking me wire through my nest here. So I have a 20 gauge wire here, and I'm going to stick it through the nest through one side until it comes out through the other. I'm going to bend it over. You can see there the two pieces of wire are bent over, and I'm going to wrap the longest piece of wire around the shortest piece of wire. I'm going to cut a little bit off the end of it, and before I stick it down into the foam base, I find if I buckle up the wire at the bottom and make a little hook, it grips down into the foam better. Now while I'm sticking this in, you tell me what you're laughing at.
Hannah Dill says, girls, I don't think I've ever heard such a dirty conversation about quick dip, rabbits, sticks and poking.
It's not just floral arranging classes we do here in Dublin, Pamela, do you know that? We actually think that we have a great, what would you call it, fertility rate. And I'm dead serious. The amount of students that we have had here at the school who either were trying to have a baby, were having difficulty getting pregnant, and I'm telling you, a couple of hours here in Kay's Flower School, between the quick dip, the pollen off the flowers, our waxing sticks and a bit of poke, and I tell you, we got them all pregnant and we didn't have to intervene. I swear to God, I think we have a better percentage of pregnancies here in Kay's Flower School than the Rotunda has.
Lots of little buds.
Lots of little buds we have. So I'm sure is baby Sid watching?
No, I haven't seen. No, Heather's working.
Heather's back in work, she is. So I have some little baby chickens, and again we picked these up in the walk around shops. So what was the shop you said there earlier on?
Deals, Eurojoint.
I'll just get a little silver wire around the press here.
Any of those. Pamela says she's been educated on another level here.
So just for our little baby chickens. Now I know baby chickens normally can't fly, but I just think it would be nice to bring kind of some of them up into the arrangement. So I'm using a silver wire. So again, all these wires you get in a florist. So the silver wires, the 22 gauge was the light wire. That was the one for wrapping down the outside of the roses and the geranies if you choose to do it. And the 20 gauge wire is what I use for wiring up the nest. And just this silver wire, it's very fine, so I'm able to wrap it around the little chicken's feet. So I have 2 little bits of wires coming out of it now, and I'm just going to have a look now and see where this little baby, this is a magic baby chicken. He's been on the drink, he has, and he's well able to fly. So I'm going to bring him up here and just catch the silver wire around the twig, and then I'm going to cut off the bit of silver wire then that I don't need. So, any more questions? Any more comments?
No.
Anybody trying to get pregnant? We have a Module 1 course starting on Monday the 10th of June. And Module 1 is a 4-day course. It's one of our most popular. What do you think of that little chicken up the top there?
Oh, that's lovely.
And sure, there's always, when you see one chicken, you always see another one, isn't it? It's like the magpies.
That's true.
So we're going to get another chicken.
Nicola saying hi.
This Nicola up in Carlingford, no?
I'm not sure which Nicola, maybe. Nicola or Nicola.
Hey, Nicola or Nicola, how are you? Tell us where you're watching from then. Let us know. Because we did have a Nicola on the class there from Carlingford there just recently. So as I said, while I'm poking my silver wire through here and around my branches, this weekend we have a busy weekend. We have our spring workshop day on Saturday. And as I said, we've still got one place available on it, but we also have a hens party on Saturday evening. So we all go here at the school. So I think we have 12 hens arriving. Not sure actually where they're arriving from. Not sure.
Nicole, it's from Fermanagh.
Oh, hey, Nick.
And over on Instagram, Verona Morris here. Hi girls, missed the start of the video. Where could I get the twigs?
So the twigs, most flower shops have them because these are all available in the wholesalers. They're quite big bunches that you purchase in. So any of the florists that's watching, I know Pamela down in Cork, she definitely would have them. And maybe that girl that was watching from Ennis, Lorraine, was it? Geraldine?
Geraldine, I think, yeah.
I know she's put in the comments below. So anybody asking or trying to source material, put the area, like say I'm looking for twigs.
Because Verona is actually watching over on Instagram, so she won't be able to see. But if she goes over to Facebook, you'll
see the comments below. But the best thing to do is if you make a comment and say that you're looking to purchase the twigs in Wexford, or you're looking to purchase the posy pads in County Meath, maybe a flower shop then that's watching, that's from that area, they could comment and they could let you know. But like most flower shops, so I'd say if you just called into your local flower shop. So what do you think? Do you think we're any more material into this? I just think keep it very, very simple. This would be lovely for a hall table, or maybe even for somebody that has kids in school. Maybe you could make it up and send it into the school, like for their nature table. And like the kids could maybe bring in some of their own little bits and pieces and add to it. You'll get quite the geranies and the roses will be the first materials to die. You'll possibly only get a week out of them. Is Frank watching? How long are you going to garden these flowers for, Frank, if he's still watching?
He's still watching.
Normally in a cooler room, keep the oasis base watered. The handiest way to water these bases, because remember I showed it to you earlier on, hopefully I'll be with this one here. They have like a styrofoam at the bottom of them. Now you can get them in plastic. The plastic ones probably would hold the water longer. So if you had a choice and you're in a flower shop and they have both, for sale, I would possibly recommend you to purchase the plastic one, especially if it's for your own house. So that way then the plastic base will hold the water. But otherwise with the styrofoam base, it's just maybe place this on the ground, maybe outside or in the end of your bath or your shower. and then just very, very slowly. Do it really slow and pour water over it, and that way then your foam will soak it up, where if you pour it on too fast, it'll just run off the outside. So pour it on really, really slow until it gets quite heavy. The thing about floral foam, you can't over soak it. It's a sponge and it'll only hold as much water as is possible for it to hold. The frames are not reusable, by the way, just in case anybody is asking. But you know what, if it's for yourself and you haven't made too many what I call unnecessary holes in it, when the arrangement is dead, you could remove all the dead stuff. And to be honest, if it's for yourself, you could possibly use it again. But you will find when there's holes already in the oasis base, the hem holes don't vanish, and the newer holes you make, we're talking about holes now by the way, and the newer holes you make, they just kind of join up with the holes that's already in the oasis, makes bigger holes, and then it's more likely for your material to fall out.
Frank said with good conditioning, 10 days.
10 days, so there you go everybody. Frank there in Holland is guaranteeing the flowers 10 days.
And Lisa wants to know when she could buy one of these. We're not a flower shop.
We're not a flower shop. Now there is, if you happen to be in Dublin, there is a flower shop based underneath us. We're upstairs. We're called Case Flower School. And underneath us is a flower shop called Case Florist. Now a lot of people think we own the flower shop, but we actually don't. We've absolutely nothing got to do with it. But the girl that works down there, Linda, is absolutely lovely, and she sells a lot of the materials as well. Now if you're wondering, how come there's a flower shop called the same name? Our mum, so myself and Deirdre, we're actually sisters, just for anybody that doesn't know. Deirdre never comes on camera. So myself and Deirdre are sisters, and we have the same mum, and our mum is Kay. So Kay would originally have been the owner of Case Florist, the flower shop in Rialto, and then back over 30 years ago, 32 years actually this May, so we'll have to do something special for our birthday. So 32 years ago, this coming May, Kay would have set up Case Flower School. And I would have actually came in with her around that time. And then Deirdre then joined, she's the younger sister. So she joined then a couple of years later. So Kay is now retired, and is just stuck with me now. It's just have to put up with me. I'm the one here running the show here, and myself and Deirdre. So that's how the flower shop in Rialto is called Case Flowers. But we're not actually a flower shop. We're not connected to the flower shop. And any of the students that's here at the school, they can purchase any of the items for practicing at home or remaking. So any of the girls that's coming on Saturday for the spring day, I'll have it, like everything supplied at the course, but I will have materials for sale, like the bases, if you want to go home and maybe make another spring wreath or another table arrangement for your friend as a present, or maybe to sell, make a few bob out of it. We'll have all that stuff for sale at the school on Saturday, so that's no problem.
Linda says Deirdre is the Instagram stories queen.
Absolutely, Deirdre is the social media queen. I'm a disaster when it comes to the Instagram and the Facebook. I can just about make a few posts. So Deirdre's the Instagram social media queen. So she looks after all that. She looks after an awful lot more.
That's because Instagram has filters. Okay, so I think that's sort of it.
That's it. There you go. Geez, I was on a good while.
Yeah.
Didn't think this was going to take as long. So anybody that has any questions, just comment below. Anybody that's only joining up now, when I shut up talking and I log off, you'll be able to watch the video back from the very beginning. Do us a favour and share it, because that actually helps us social media wise. If you can share the post, just means more people can see it. Definitely comment, even if it's just to give us a little bit of a like. So because again, Facebook likes that. If they see that people like our posts, they're making our page more available to more people out there, which is really what we want. So give us a little like, give us a comment, share it if you don't mind, and if you have any questions at all, just comment below and I'll check in later on and I'll answer any questions. Okay, so bye bye.